Taipari tai whakaheke o tātou tipuna. I roto i ngā mihi poroporo aki o te wā ki o tātou tini mate. Me pēhea rā te whakairo i te kupu ki a rātou. A mākua e ki atu tangitahi hi o tāua toto ki o tāua mate. O reira rā ngā hautū, ngā haumui o te wā o tapu nui nā tāne. Oki oki tonu rā, oki oki tonu rā, oki oki tonu rā. A ki tō tātou nei mātua nui i te rangi, a hakoa te maha hoki o na ingoa, nei tono koro wai aroha ki rungi i a tātou i tēnei timatanga o tēnei wāhanga o te kaunihira o te mataua Māui. O reira rā, e te pāpā e te mātua nui i te rangi, uhia mai tō manaakitanga ki rungi i a tātou i tēnei wāhanga. Kia tutuki pai ai ngā whaenga kei mui a tātou i roto i ngā tau e toru ai te heke mai nei. Ka huri atu anō ngā whakaaro nui ki a tātou, tēnei anō tātou o te kaunihira o te mataua Māui, ngā kai kaunihira tēnā koutou. Tēnā tātou. Koutou rā, kua tai mai a tīnana tēnā koutou. Ngā ākonga, ngā rangatahi tēnā koutou. O ngā kāriti katoa, tēnei te reo aumihi ki a koutou. Linda's Farm, tēnā koutou. St. John's, tēnā anō hoki koutou. O tau ngā kōhine e pīkau hia nei i taua taha wahine, tēnā koutou. Hastings Girls, anika rā, te mihi, mai oha kia koutou. Reira rā, tātou anō, ngā kaimahi, ngā kai kaunihira, tēnā koutou, a tēnā koutou, a tēnā tātou. Look, it's important for me to just give a brief explanation of the kōrero and the mihi this morning, acknowledging the higher being and beckoning his manaakitanga or his hospitality to share in the day-to-day. As we begin the mahi, the work ahead of us in this training. It's important for us to also welcome the memory of our loved ones that we've lost along the journey. It's important for us to acknowledge those that have come here today to participate at the start of this 3-year term for us as councillors, for us as the Hawke's Bay Regional Council. We acknowledge these things, and we acknowledge the students of the schools that have come here today. Koutou anō te apopo, you are the tomorrow, but let's not forget that you're also here today, so you are the today. Tēnā koutou, Madam Chair, tēnā tātou.
Thank you. I don't really need to say anything else. What a beautiful welcome. So appreciated. Let's, shall we lead also with our opening karakia, Tūtaua mai. Tūtaua mai,
Tūtaua mai raro, tūtaua mai roto, tūtaua mai waho, kia tau ai te mauri tū, te mari ora, ki te katoa, haumi e, hui e, tahi e.
So a welcome also to staff, a welcome to everybody online watching now or later. I don't need to say much more except that as we start from the beginning, it's important to remember while we're here, but more importantly, the great office of local government and how it really does matter. And I, of course, called on the expert in this matter, the Honourable Rick Barker, 15 years, I think, our MP for Tukituk. Over 20 years in Parliament. He served here a term on Hawke's Bay Regional Council in his last year as chair. So welcome, Rick. Thank you for joining us this morning, and please.
Kia ora, thank you, Sophie. Kia ora koutou katoa, regional councillors, freshly re-minted. You now have the honour and the privilege of being governors of the Regional Council for Hawke's Bay. Each of you who has been elected and entrusted with the mana and the integrity of the Regional Council, its extensive powers, which are not unlimited, its influence and its leadership for the region. It's you. That's your job. As governors, it's your responsibility alone to set the direction of council. The direction of council is not an executive decision, it's yours. You are the governors. The best description of governance I've ever come across was when I was in Britain. The story related to me that Queen Victoria, at the time, said to her First Minister, The traffic in London is abominable, you have to fix it. London was jammed with horses and drays, and they moved at less than a walking pace. So the First Minister went back to his ministers and said, well, the Queen's told us we have to fix it. What we do is they got a panel of experts in, they went through all the options, and someone came up with the idea of an underground railway. They said, well, there's all smoke and steam, and so they thought about exhaust and so on. And someone said, well, what about an electric train? No such thing exists. So well, could we make one? So they did. And the London Underground was born. The Victoria Line is still there. Changed the transport of the world. The point about the story is that Victoria was the leader, and she said, this is the problem, you have to fix it. It was for the executive arm then to go and find the solution. So your job is to set the strategic direction, to set out what needs to be done, and then to supervise the development of the strategy and the provision of resources to do the job. You won't make a stop bank. You won't dig. Won't hunt anything to pests. That's the staff's job. Yours is to be looking over the horizon to the future, what needs to be done. Your job also has two ones. First one is you employ only one person, the chief executive. You don't employ the staff. You employ one person. The second one you have is that your output is decisions. That's the only output of governors, is decisions. You don't make widgets, you don't build anything, you just make decisions. And that's your output. So to make the best decisions, you need to prepare yourself. You need to make sure you read your papers carefully, you need to be inquisitive, inquiring, and you need to do the best to come to the meetings prepared. You need to help develop yourself, get yourself up to speed on topics, investigate and so on. And your decisions need to be about the best decisions for the region. Yes, we have people elected from Wairoa and Central Hawke's Bay and Napier and Hastings. That was not a decision to build a federation of interests. It was a decision to make sure that all voices were heard and in the tent. It was about making sure the region was heard, not a federation of voices. So you don't come here to represent an interest group or other things. You come here to given the trust to make decisions for the region. For this, you have to put aside all personal and private interests. You need to make sure that you're governing for all, not for a sector, not for this. You're here for all of Hawke's Bay. So in doing this, as I say, you need to get some framework for making your decisions. One of the things I read from Lee Iacocca, the man who rescued Chrysler, was he said, never make decisions out of fear. Never make decisions out of fear. For that, I interpret that to make decisions for positive reasons, not negative ones. You'll be confronted with a whole range of arguments on any particular issue. There'll be all sorts of issues there. And Paul Keating said he always looked for the weight of the argument, which I thought was a really good little metaphor, the weight of the argument. So where is the weight in this argument? There's many values in it, but where is the weight? And I always look for that. You'll have a lot of issues where there's contests of interests, of values and so on, and one of them will be about the challenge between value and cost. See, we've been driven as a society about the cost of everything, but we don't always get ourselves to the point of value. Value quite often never has a dollar figure attached to it. It's hard to define. And one of these I come to is enviro schools. Enviro schools for me was always looked at around the table as a cost. But we could never really put a figure or value on the long-term benefit. And it's interesting that a recent article came to my knowledge about connectedness with nature, a global study. Unfortunately, New Zealand wasn't on the list, I checked that. But it found that England was third to the bottom of connected with the nature, despite the fact that they had a huge range of environmental groups. And that was because it was always seen as a transaction. What they found was that when young people are exposed to environmental issues like enviro schools, they develop a relationship with nature. And this helps support their interests in biodiversity, quality of the environment, and so on. These are really interesting concepts. So you are the preeminent organisation in this region for the environment. No one else has the remit that you do for the region. So if you're going to promote environmental issues, you need to be building a relationship for the people, between them and their environment. Now, Enviro Schools does that. It has a cost, but never when you look at the papers do you see the value. Now, you people are going to have to bring those value items to the table, and to do this, you need to exercise judgment. Judgment is the key thing that you have above all else. You make a judgment about things. And with a judgment, it should have a rationale. You go to a court and see a court case, it always comes out with a decision, but there is always a judgment. A High Court judge once told me that a judgment without a rationale is not a decision. So you should always have a decision associated with a rationale. Why did we do this? Why did I vote this way? It needs to have a rationale. And the last point I'd make to you is I think we underrate philosophy. When I came to the Regional Council, I sat down and had to figure out what was going to be guiding me. And the philosophy I settled on, I stole from someone else, I'm quite happy to make that point, is wisdom is old men planting trees under whose shade they'll never sit. I thought, I'm not here to make decisions for myself, I'm here to make decisions about the future. So every major decision came along, I had that in the back of my mind. Old men planting trees under whose shade they'll never sit. And I think you should all have a piece of philosophy which guides you. And when you talk to the people, and I come back to Lincoln, government of the people, by the people, for the people. So when you're making your decisions, you need to talk to the people in a genuine and authentic voice. What do you really think? What do you really feel? And the people will respond, and you need to take the people with you. No point in sitting on the treetops shouting, you need to carry the people with you. So it's to be a conversation of the people, by the people, for the people, and you, the regional councillors, are here to lead it. You have my best wishes.
Tira mai?
Kia tapatahi, kia potahira, tātou tātou e. Tūtira mai ngā iwi, tātou tātou e. Tūtira mai ngā iwi, tātou tātou e. Whai a te maramatanga, me te aroha e ngā iwi, kia tapatahi, kia potahira, tātou tātou e. Tātou tātou e.
Hia wehi!
It's my privilege and my pleasure to present the chains of office. These symbolise the authority and the power of the chair. The Queen has a crown, the King has a crown, Parliament has its mace, and mayors have mayoral chains, and the Chairman of the Regional Council has a chain. This is a symbol of office, and it's there to show that the power rests with the symbol, not the person, which I think is a really important point. This gives the person the power remains with the symbol long after the person has left. Don't let it weigh you down.
I won't. I mean,
Best wishes.
thank you.
All of it.
Thank you. I don't think many people have ever seen these, which is why we've pulled them out today. And they were made in 1999 by a collection, David Trowbridge and two other local artists.
It's true.
So we thought it would be lovely to pull them out. There's a story up the front on the wood on the ponamu, on how it came about and what it means. And we thought it would be really nice to bring them out today to show everyone and pass them around at morning tea. Yeah. So they say that the best ceremonies bring together age and youth, and we're going to have both today. As Rick said, we start on 3 years of a work stream that everything we do will be what is left behind us. So we've invited students today from a number of schools to present to you something to mark the beginning of your journey. I'm going to ask Liam to please join me. And I'd like to invite Councillor Waitoa and Councillor Ormsby, please, to join us. And stay facing the front so that there's a photo with Liam. Stand aside in here. Stand in the middle. That's lovely. Thank you so much.
Sorry, mate.
You just wait a second. Liam's got an address for the voters.
In the background, you can put it.
Kia ora koutou katoa. Ko Liam Taku Ingoa no Motutapu Kāriki Ahau. My name is Liam and I'm from Lindisfarne College. Thank you for the opportunity to welcome you, our new councillors, and to share what the environment means to me. Recently, our green team went on a trip to a Maranui landfill to understand the impact organic waste is having on our region. What we saw was fairly confronting. Organic waste is not decomposing and methane is being released. The landfill is filling faster than it ever should, all because we are burying organic material that could be composted and be returned back to our whenua, our land. For me, the environment isn't just the trees and the river we see every day. It's the water we drink and the sea and all the life in it. I love being outdoors, especially sailing, and it reminds me about how everything in nature is connected, all part of one living ecosystem. But sometimes when I'm sailing, I see rubbish or plastic floating around, and it hits me how much damage people can cause to places we love, and how we're spoiling it for generations to come. In 25 years' time, I hope Hawke's Bay is a place where everyone truly understands why separating organic waste is really, really important. Right now, too much organic waste ends up in Maranui landfill, where it takes up space and produces harmful gases, instead of being turned into compost that could nourish our soil. I want people to think twice before throwing things away, and try to reuse, compost and recycle whenever they can. If we can do that, we will reduce the waste in landfill, cut our emissions, and keep our bay clean for many more generations to come. So, to our councillors, we need you to lead the way and make bold decisions to protect our environment, and reduce the huge amount of organic waste that's gone into Maranui. Every truckload that's buried adds to the problem and brings the landfill closer to full. Please consider how we can better educate our community about separating organic waste, because once that space is gone, it's gone. We're not asking this as a school assignment, we're asking it because this is our future. As regional councillors, you have the ability to create real change. If we keep going at this current rate, our generation will be left to deal with the consequences of the problems that could have been prevented. The kakapi is a tonga of Aotearoa, once common across our land, but now rare and carefully protected. It is a great example that when we give our care and attention to something fragile, it can recover, flourish, and once again bring its beauty back to the world. Just like this plant, our environment needs the same type of care and commitment from all of us, from our communities, from our leaders, and from our generation. Ngā mihi nui, thank you.
Thank you, Liam. Max, can I invite you up? Councillor McElroy and Councillor McIntosh.
Max. Mayor Scott's in the council. Mayor Scott's in the council.
I'll just stand for a second. I'll go a photo. Just stand between those two. That's it.
Kia ora koutou katoa. Ko Max tuku ingoa, no ahuriri ahau, hea konga ahau no motu tapu karite. My name is Max, I'm from Napier, and my school is Lindisfarne College. Our tile, our environment, is something that is not only important to the people in this room, but almost everyone on Earth, as it provides us with kai, water, resources, and many other tongas. It is our culture, a place where we can thrive, and with climate change heavily affecting that, things need to change. We need to take a step forward and help this environment of ours recover to what it once was. The environment is important to me because it has been my world since I was a child. When I was little, my father used to take me to the beach almost every day. Even then, I could admire how important our environment is. It supplies us with everything we need and the peace and beauty of just being out there. Once I was a bit older, Dad started taking me on tramps to various huts in the Kawekas, places like Tapuia and Makino. I've done these so many times that they now feel like home. The incredible wildlife and nature that might be out of reach one day is part of my identity as a person since I was a kid. My dream of the future is seeing Hawke's Bay as a place that actually did and still is doing something about our world's slow destruction of our biodiversity. I want to see places like the Ahuriri estuary begin to thrive again with clean water and species that were once endangered flourishing in those areas. I want places like the botanical gardens to have many types of native bushes and animals that will be there for my children and grandchildren. One of my biggest hopes is that you all continue to and expand on is the education of young people in our community, as I've personally seen this have a huge effect on our and other schools' environments and awareness. The HBRC Climate Change Challenge is a direct example of this. Without it, we might not have the food waste bin set up at our school, and many other schools might not have the same awareness that we do now. Not only will the education of young people create a fight against climate change now, but it will expand on this generation for the rest of our lives. With enough people educated about the impacts of climate change and what they can do about it, we will grow into a healthier future for everyone. For your future decisions, please consider the choices you are making from now on are good choices for our tile and lead with a sense of connection and care for the environment, as we will be the ones who face the impacts of the decisions made. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Thank you, Max. Aidan? Councillor Roadley, Councillor Hawke.
Kia ora katoa katoa. Ko Aidan Walters toku ingoa no Hiratonga ho. Kia ora, my name is Aidan and I go to St John's College. This year I've been part of the Regional Council's Youth Environmental Ambassadors program, and I'd like to thank the Council for giving me the opportunity to learn about and advocate for the environment. I believe it's so important for young people and all people to care about the environment, both on a global scale and here in Hawke's Bay. Our environment is a big part of who we are, and we need to take action, no matter how big or small, to protect it. In the future, I'd love to see a Hawke's Bay where all our communities work together to ensure the environment is protected. My hope is that in 25 or more years from now, Young people like me can walk along our region's rivers and beaches and forests and see them in the same way that we do today. And not just in the same state, but better as we continue to protect the environment and preserve it and improve it even. To our councillors, I ask that you continue listening to the voices of young people. The decisions you make today shape our tomorrow, and the responsibility of solving our region's issues will one day fall to us. With this in mind, remember that our voices should be respected as much as any other, because Hawke's Bay is our region as much as anyone else's. I ask that you not just consider us, but listen to us and give us an input into the decisions that one day will affect us. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Welcome, Ocean. Councillor Curtin, Councillor Kuklinski.
To you. Hawke and Wine Company, 93 years in Bay.
Thank
One
you.
for Julie.
Okay. A surprise, thank you very much.
Organic or inorganic?
It's up. Perfect.
Kia ora koutou katoa, ko Ocean toku ingoa, hea konga ahu no Hastings Girls High School. I moved here from India 3 years ago. And in India, environmental policy felt distant, something that happened in government buildings, disconnected from daily life. Here, I learned that land isn't something that you govern from a distance. What struck me about Aotearoa wasn't just its beauty, but the way people treat it as if it's whānau. Being a youth environment ambassador showed me that my generation doesn't need convincing about climate change or biodiversity loss. We grew up with these realities. But we need our leaders willing to act. So thank you for letting our voices be heard. But listening isn't enough. In 25 years, I hope to see native birds filling our wetlands again, and each river one that we can swim in. And most importantly, I hope that climate action is no longer a goal we simply talk about, but a way of life that defines our region. My hope for our councillors is that you continue to lead with courage, compassion, and care, and continue to allow young people to get involved, because we'll be living your choices long after your term ends. Ngā mihi nui.
Yeah. It's your name. Yes, that's your name.
You've
So
done
that-
it already, Neil.
So that Councillor Curtin doesn't get lost.
Comes with age.
And Anya, welcome. Councillor Van Beek.
Thank you. Just leaving.
Yeah. It's not you, it's him.
Kia ora koutou katoa, ko Ananya tohu inua. E hoku e onga ahu no Hastings Girls High School. Hello everyone, and thank you for having me here today. The environment is important to me because it makes me feel connected to my roots. Both the land I was born in, Himalayas, and the land now I call home. The place I feel deeply connected to is the hills. They remind me of my ancestors and the story that flowed through generations. When I'm surrounded by nature, I feel grounded and at peace. It reminds me of Manaakitanga, showing care, kindness, and respect to all living things, and Kaitiakitanga, our role as the guardians of the land and the water that sustain us. In 25 years, I hope our region will be full of life with clean rivers, thriving native plants, forests, and communities that live with Kaitiakitanga at heart. I want Hawke's Bay to be a place where people from all cultures stand together to protect our environment and with manakitanga and unity. My message to the councillors is to lead with courage, compassion, and connection, to make the decision grounded in kaitiakitanga and to listen to the voices of young people who carry hope for a better future, better and more caring future. Thank you.
And that is exactly the reason why we invite youth to speak to us, because there's nothing more that I need to say, except let's sing the national anthem together.
Hear our voices, we entreat. God defend our free land. Broad Pacific triple star, from the shouts of strife and war, make the praises heard afar. God defend New Zealand.
Thank you. We're going to break for morning tea, and you're all welcome to stay and join us. But firstly, could everyone grab their tree, come to the front of the building so we can have a photo with the Youth Council, please?
Grab your tree.
Grab your tree.